My No 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 Day by Rebecca Patterson. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Yesterday, I woke up and Bob was crawling around my room, licking my jewellery. So I shouted, "Get out of my room!" And that was the start of my No 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 Day. Then I came downstairs and I saw that egg. I cried and cried and I said, "I can't eat that!" And Mummy said, "You could eat it last week. Look, Bob is eating his mashed banana." After the terrible egg, I didn't like my shoes either, so I took them off all by myself, shouting, "No shoes!" And then we had to go shopping, and Mummy said, "Please stop wriggling, Bella." But I couldn't stop wriggling, and in the end I shouted, "Get me out!" Mummy said, "You will give Bob an earache, and you're giving me a headache." And Bob poked me and said, "Yeah." At lunchtime, Sasha and her mummy came to play and to have some peanut butter and grapes and a cookie. But my cookie broke! Then I couldn't play nicely and I kept saying, "No, you can't be a princess!" And in the end, Sasha and her mummy went home. In the afternoon, it was my ballet lesson. I said, "Ballet is too itchy!" But I was very loud and Mrs. Clark stopped playing on the piano and Mrs. Louisa said, "Dear oh dear, perhaps you should sit in the corner then." On the way home, we met the lady who lives next door and she said that Bob was the sweetest thing she'd seen all day. And then she said, "And how's Bella?" I was a long way behind, so I had to shout, "I have a hurting foot!" And Mummy said, could I keep my voice down and could I please stop lying on the sidewalk? Then it was time for my supper and bath. But those peas were too hot! And our bath was too cold! And I was too wet! And it was too minty! After that, I rolled and rolled and said, "No bed, no, no! No, no bed, no, no!" And Mummy said, "Well, I think someone needs to go to bed." But I rolled all over to my room, and then I rolled into Bob's room, and I said, "Bed is for babies!" And then I yawned, a little yawn. Then I crawled into my room, and Mummy said, "Who wants a story?" And I said, "Nobody!" But she came into my room anyways, and we cuddled up and had my best story about fairies and cake. I yawned again, and I said very quietly, "Today was a very bad day, Mummy. Sorry." And she kissed me a good night and said, "I know, we all have those days sometimes, but perhaps you will be more cheerful tomorrow." And I was cheerful all day long. The end.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Carle. And if you'd like to buy the book, check in the link description down below. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop, out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. One Monday, he ate through one apple, but he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he still was hungry. He started to look for some food. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums. But he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries. But he was still hungry. He started to look for some food. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges. But he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 pickle, 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 slice of salami, 1 cupcake, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 lollipop, 1 sausage, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomachache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf, and after that, he felt much better. Now he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big fat caterpillar. He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed in for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly.
A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. And if you'd like to buy the book, check in the link description down below.
Time to move,
said Hermit Crab one day in January.
I've grown too big for this little shell.
He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without any shell to hide in.
What if a big fish comes along and attacks me? He thought. I must find a new house soon.
Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see what it felt. It felt just right.
But it looks so plain, thought Hermit Crab.
In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water.
How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain, it needs you.
I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor.
How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decor my house?
I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move.
How pretty you are,
said Hermit Crab.
Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?
I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a near path behind them.
How tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house?
I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles.
How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house?
I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed.
It's so dark in here, thought Hermit Crab.
How dim it is, murmured the sea anemone. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish.
How murky it is, complained the coral.
I can't see, said the snail.
It's like a nightmare,
cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water.
How bright you all are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to light up our house?
I would, replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles.
How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you?
Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell.
Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab.
But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another, bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles.
They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They're like a family. How can I ever leave them?
In December, a smaller Hermit Crab passed by. I haven't outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know a place for me?
I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but promise to be good to my friends.
I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in.
Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he'd spied the perfect house, a big, empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but... Sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started.
The end. Oh, the Things You Can Think by Dr. Seuss. If you want to buy the book, check in the link description down below. You can think up some birds, that's what you can do. You can think about yellow or think about blue. You can think about red. You can think about pink. You can think about a horse. Oh, the things you can think. Oh, the things you can think up if you only try. If you try, you can think up a guff going by. And you don't have to stop. You can think about slop. Slop, slop, beautiful slop. Beautiful slop with a cherry on top. You can think about gloves. You can think about snubs. You can think a long time about snubs and their gloves. You can think about Kitty O'Sullivan Krause in her big balloon swimming pool over her house. Think of black water. Think up a white sky. Think up a boat. Think of blogs blowing by. You can think about nights and nights in none up. The birds are asleep and the 3 moons are up. You can think about day, a day in the dake. The water is blue and the birds are awake. Think and wonder, wonder and think. How much water can 55 elephants drink? You can wonder. How long is the tail of a zong? There are so many thinks that a thinker can think. Would you dare yank a tooth of the rinker think? And what would you do if you met a jaboo? Oh, the thinks you can think. Think of a Peter the postman who crosses the ice once every day and on Saturdays twice. Think. You can think anything that you wish. Think a race on a horse, on a ball with a fish. Think of a light. Think of a bright. Think of stars in the night. Think. Think a ship. Think up a long trip. Go visit the Vipper of Vip. And left. Think of left. And think about beft. Why is that beft? Always go to the left. And why is it so many things go to the right? You can think about that until Saturday night. Think left. And think right. And think low. And think high. Oh, the things you can think up if you only try. Spike, the Penguin with Rainbow Hair, written by Sarah Cullen, Carmen Ellis, illustrated by Susanna Svobodova. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. 2 penguins watched as their egg gave a shake. It wiggled and wobbled and started to break. Then out came a baby so cute and so small. 'Twas love at first sight for this little fur ball. Soon all of the penguins came over to stare, for this little penguin had colourful hair. Just what shall we call him? What name do you like? With a mohawk like this one, his name should be Spike. They both love his mohawk. It made them feel proud. Poor Spike, though, preferred to blend in with the crowd. When all eyes were on him, his tongue tied in fear, he started to wish that it would disappear. Spike went on a mission to find a nice shell.
I think with the shell, I could hide my hair well.
He jumped in the sea for a quick look around and picked up a beautiful shell from the ground. He loved his new hat, which he matched with a bow. But the shell was so heavy he sank in the snow. Feeling discouraged, he wailed with a pout,
I want to blend in, but I keep standing out.
With a sigh and a groan, he was trying to think, perhaps I could dye my hair with squid ink. The squid ink might help me to turn my hair black, and then I would look like I'm part of the pack. He jumped in the sea of parachute of a squid, so desperate to find one, and he finally did. In the blink of an eye, the new job was complete. He liked his new style and he thought it looked neat. Oh, what a surprise! It was just as he feared. When he came to the surface, it all disappeared. He felt so alone and he started to shout,
I want to blend in, but I keep standing out!
Poor Spike was so sad. He cried out in despair. He thought to himself, I will cut off my hair. Oh, what a relief that his dream would be real, as all he would need was a talented seal. A seal's teeth are pointy and sharper than shears. His head would be bald, just as those of his peers. He knew of a seal that had sharp pointy fangs, and proceeded to ask him to cut off his bangs. So what should it be? A nice bob or a perm?
No, cut it all off,
he said, standing firm. That night he slept well in his cute penguin shack, but the very next morning his hair had grown back. Sad and defeated, he went to his friends, so sick and so tired of hitting dead ends.
What in the world can I do with these tresses? Does anyone know? Have you got any guesses?
Don't you see that you have it all wrong? This is the way that we felt all along. We love you so much and we don't want you to change. Your hair is amazing to us. It's not strange. He looked in the mirror and became clear. His beautiful tresses were nothing to fear. Spike finally saw his own self through their eyes. He no longer wanted to be in disguise. Strutting his stuff with a heart full of pride, he realized how he had nothing to hide. Spike embraced life and he wanted to share.
I'm proud! I'm the penguin with colourful hair!
The end.